Okay, so today, thank you again very much for having me here at the Brisbane Bhakti Yoga Center. I'm grateful for this opportunity amongst you all to try to speak something on the on Purushottama month and how to actually prepare for it. And also, today is the disappearance day of Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami. So I will also speak a little bit about him towards the end. Okay, so last week, if I'm not mistaken, Janak Raj Prabhu, he gave a really nice class on Purushottama month and what it is, why it happens, and all the katha, all the Puranic stories associated with it. So he spoke about all of this. So today what I will speak about is how to follow it and how to prepare for it, how to get into the right headspace for it. And so the first thing we really need to know about that is when it is. So it doesn't follow the modern calendar. It's an extra month, as we know. So it's called Adhik Mas, Purushottama Mas, and previously Mal Mas as well. So this month, this year, falls from the 18th of July to the 16th of August. So from today, it is 10 days away. So a word of warning, dates on the calendar, they appear closer than they are. So 18th of July is when it starts. So we should have that in our minds and when it ends. So if we take it, okay, so the aim of this class is to hopefully get us all in the right mood, the right headspace, like I said earlier, and to get the maximum benefit from this. Because there is nothing worse than missing a sale. So, you know, when you go for a sale, usually it's 2 for the price of 1. You buy 1, you get 1 free, or you buy 1, you get 3 free, something like that. So this month is you buy 1, and how much do you get free? 1,000. You get 1,000 free. So that's pretty good value. And that's how magnanimous Krishna is. So we might say, what am I going to do with 1,000 times more spiritual credit? It's too much, we might say. So we must remember that when Krishna gives, when the Lord gives, we don't actually have enough hands to hold. When Krishna gives, wo chappar faad ke deta hai, as there's a saying in Hindi. He gives really so much that we don't even have hands to hold. So, but realistically speaking, we do need this. I mean, that's why Krishna, out of his magnanimity, out of his mercy, he has made this special occasion for us. So I'll try to explain why we actually need this. Okay, so we are in this material world, right? And this material world, we are on this Earth planet. So this Earth planet comes among the middle planetary systems. Below this we know is hellish planets, and above this is heavenly planets. So above heaven, there is Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka is still in this material universe. And then above Brahmaloka, then there is this river. And so that's the end of the material universe. Then there's a river. There's a river called the Viraja River, which separates the material world from the spiritual world. Then above this river is Shivalok. And then that is the spiritual world. So above this material universe, there is Shivalok, the Viraja River, Shivalok, and then the spiritual sky. And in the spiritual sky, there is the Vaikuntha planets, and then above Vaikuntha is Goloka Vrindavan. So the interesting thing is that, so this material world and this material universe which is hell and earth and heaven and Brahmaloka, all of this is still the material universe. Now all of this is covered by 7 coverings. There are 7 different coverings, and these are the coverings. There is earth, water, fire, air, sky or ether. Then there is total material energy. Then there is false ego. So that's earth, water, fire, air, sky, total material energy, and false ego. So 7 material coverings. Now each of this is 10 times thicker than the previous layer. So like earth is supposed to be 80 million miles thick. And then 10 times more than that is water. 10 times more than that is fire. So there's 7 coverings like this around this material universe before we reach the spiritual sky. So this is how thick the covering is. How do we get out of it? How are people going back to the spiritual world? They are going back by the sound vibration, by hearing and chanting, which waters the seed, the Bhakti Lata Bij, and then the creeper grows and it goes all the way to Goloka Vrindavan at the feet of Radha and Krishna. So by sound vibration. So in the scriptures, it is said that the fearless devotee of the Lord can transcend all of these coverings and go back to Goloka Vrindavan. So the holy days that we celebrate, like Janmashtami, Gaura Purnima, Radhashtami, all these holy days that we celebrate, it's described that they are the mother of devotion. So now instead of just having a holy day, we are having a whole holy month. And do you now think you need the 1,000 times more spiritual benefit? Because it's so thick to get out of this material covering? I think so. It really gives our, like, Prabhupada said, this Krishna consciousness movement is the surest and fastest way back to Godhead. So when we add this super fuel of these holy months like Kartik and Purushottam, then we get this extra boost. And it's kind of like we need to go back to the spiritual world. We can't do it on our own. The Lord's mercy is needed. And months like this and holy days like this, they give us this added boost of spiritual credit. So, did I say already? Yes, I did. The fearless devotee. So it is really, really important that this word fearless devotees are meant, fearless is mentioned, because, it is, it's quite oppressing really to think that, we are in this material world and this covering is so thick and I'm doing devotional service, but will I be able to go to the spiritual world? So this is how it is. And yes, we do need this extra mercy. So also just a side note, the Viraja River, which I said is the demarcation between the spiritual and the material world, this Viraja River is actually a transcendental current of perspiration of the Lord. So that's interesting, isn't it? Okay, so it's said in the Bhagavatam, in Canto 2, that no spacecraft can go into the spiritual sky. No spacecraft can go there. So it doesn't mean just because human beings haven't seen it with their own eyes, with our senses we haven't seen it and experienced it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It does exist. It's very, very true. It's been mentioned in all the scriptures. So just to focus our minds more on what the spiritual world is like, which is our real home. So this is what home is like. So, like quite a few of us here, we weren't born in this country. Like myself, I was born in Fiji. So a lot of people ask, where are you from? And then where's home for you? So, well, quite a few of us say it's Australia. I've been here for 20 years or something. But some of us say, yeah, I was born in India or I was born in Fiji. So what's home like for you? So we can describe what home is like. It looks like this, it's tropical, there are no snakes there, you know, etc., etc. So what's our real home like? Do we know what our real home is like? We need to know. This is why we have this human form of life. And this is why we have the scriptures. The scriptures are telling us all about our real home. So I'll just to focus our minds more, I'll tell us a little bit about how the scriptures describe the spiritual world. So first thing is, time is absent. There's no past and there's no future. There's only the present. And present also means gift, right? So it's like, it's a present. It's a gift to us, that time that we have. Its time is conspicuous by its absence. There are no modes of passion or ignorance or goodness. There's only pure goodness. There is bliss, there is eternity, and there is full knowledge. So, the other descriptions are from the Brahma Samhita, that every word is a song, and every movement is a dance. That the ground is made of chintamani, touchstone, and they are desire trees, kalpavriksha trees. You go up to the tree and you say, I want a mango today, and you get mangoes, so kalpavriksha tree. And they are surabhi cows. So the whole atmosphere is saturated with love. So saturated means, the easiest way I can think of explaining it is that it's like a gulab jamun. You pick up a gulab jamun from the syrup and you squeeze it and all the syrup comes out. So it's saturated, there's so much syrup in it. So saturated with love, like the whole spiritual atmosphere is full of spiritual love, Krishna prema, love for Krishna. And everything is very joyous. It is so joyous that you don't really even want to take a moment away from doing your service to Krishna. You don't even want to blink your eyes. Like everything is really intense, full of emotion. Because remember, Krishna is Rasaraj. He is the king of all emotions. So, this is what the spiritual world is like. So, here, in this material world, we do experience some happiness. So, when we experience this happiness, just like, I'll give you a personal example. It was my birthday recently, and I had some friends come home. And they showered me with so much love, so much affection, so much prasadam, so many gifts, and I felt happy. And then, you know, so that's the happiness like we might experience. So then we compare that with the happiness in the spiritual sky, in the spiritual world. So this happiness that we experience in this world is compared to a drop of water. A drop of water. And the happiness in the spiritual sky is like a whole ocean of nectar. So that's the difference. So when we experience happiness here, you know, we can think that I'm really happy. I can't take any more happiness. Like that's how I felt on my birthday. I can't. My heart is too full. I can't take any more happiness. But, you know, in the spiritual world, it is like a whole ocean of that. So it's many, many times more the happiness we experience. So, just a little glimpse of the spiritual world. So the real question is, how many of us actually want to go back to the spiritual world? Yeah, so quite a few of us want to go back to the spiritual world. There are, you might be surprised or you might not be surprised, but there are quite a few people who don't really have that as their goal. They don't. And that's simply because then all they know is this existence and this lifetime, and they know how things work in this material world. So they don't really have that as their goal. So and we are all at different places in our journey. So the other thing about the spiritual world is that there's no hunger there and no thirst there. So there's no bodily demands like that. Okay. So that's our goal, really. In the scriptures, it's described that this human form of life is meant to achieve ultimate success. What is ultimate success? It's not a big house, it's not a big car, it's not material possessions, it's actually going back to Godhead. So, number one, that's one goal, going back to Godhead. The second goal is to please Krishna, no matter where we may be. It's just to please Krishna. So, when a tightrope walker walks a tightrope, how many of us have been to a circus or been to acrobatics or something like that? Thank you. So you know that, there's a tightrope. A tightrope is like high up, like really high up in the tent of in the circus tent, and it's like really tight from one end to the other, and the acrobat walks, balances and walks from one end to the other. So when they are walking, their eyes are on the goal. They have to keep their eyes on the end, because if they don't, they can fall down. So in the same way, we are walking this tightrope of life, and we need to keep our eyes on the goal. So what is the goal? It's ultimately going back to Godhead. If not, it is serving the Lord wherever He may put us and trying to please the Lord. So, okay. Another thing to say is we may choose our own speed as to how quickly we want to go back to Godhead. Some of us want to go back really, really quick, and we do everything and anything, all the scriptural injunctions, and we just do that really fast. So that's going really fast. We can take the medium speed, we can take the slow speed. Ultimately, we need to know that we shouldn't run out of time. We shouldn't waste time. We need to use our time, because who knows when our time will run out. So, but we can choose our speed. Krishna has given us that choice. So, okay, so when I was younger, and like quite a young devotee, then I heard a devotee say that Purushottama month, it comes around every 3 years. And just because Purushottama month can't come every year, Kartik month comes every year. So in my heart I thought, oh, surely there is nothing greater than the month of Kartik. Because, Purushottama month comes only once every 3 years, so it's not as well known. It hasn't been as well known so far. So that's why I said one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it is to increase our awareness of it, so that we can make use of this opportunity. So yes, I was thinking there's nothing more special than Kartik month. Well, it turns out Purushottama month is actually giving us 1,000 times more spiritual credit of doing the same spiritual service. And the reason for this is because Krishna really, really loves us, and He wants us back with Him in Goloka Vrindavan. We might have forgotten home altogether, but Krishna hasn't forgotten us. So He wants us back. It's like a father looking out for his kids and wanting them to come back. And it's also like, the other example given is like in a sabji, there are many different spices, like garam masala, hardi, salt and tomato and this and that. So all the different flavors are there. So each of us jivas, we are like different flavors. And Krishna really relishes the relationship with each of us. And it's unique, this relationship that Krishna has with each of us. So He does want us back. So this is the reason He is giving us all these good opportunities. And the injunctions are that we must make use of them. So why do people not take advantage? The first reason people don't take advantage is because they don't know. So this is why we need to talk about it and talk about other spiritual matters in general. The other reasons are given in the Bhagavad Gita, and it said that people who are grossly foolish, this is from the Bhagavad Gita, they don't surrender to Krishna, they don't take up the bhakti process. People who are grossly foolish, people who are lowest among mankind, people whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and people who are atheists. They don't really surrender. They don't really make use of this. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is one of my personal heroes, he has said, "O living entity, why are you lazy in performing Hari Bhajan in this month of Purushottam? This month, made by the Lord of Goloka himself, is the pinnacle of all the months. It is even better than the greatly pious Kartik, Magh and Vaishakh months. With special bhajan, worship Sri Sri Radha Krishna, you will gain everything." So remember in the story, again referring you back to the class that Janakaraj Prabhu gave last week. If you haven't heard it, it's available on YouTube and also the Facebook page of the center. So he mentioned the whole stories of why and how this month came about. So one of the stories was that, the reason it's come about is this month, this extra time, was a personality, a female personality, and she was being ridiculed and called the dirty month. So she went to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu, instead he said, "No, this is a bigger problem than I can handle." So he took her all the way to Goloka Vrindavan to Krishna. So Krishna himself has then become this month. And he has said, "All my qualities are offered to this month." So the other months are filled with material desires, but this month is Nishkam, without material desires. And it is said that if somebody worships Radha Krishna in this month, then all his karma, all the reactions that he has actually gets destroyed, and he attains me. So Krishna is saying this, and I'm paraphrasing. So he's saying that in this month, worship me with love and devotion, and what will the goal be? What will the goal be of worshipping Krishna with love and devotion in this month? We'll go back to Godhead. We will, at the end of our lives, become residents of Goloka Vrindavan, not just Vaikuntha. Above that, Goloka Vrindavan. And another thing he is saying, which is really interesting, he is saying that we will attain wealth and progeny in this lifetime as well. So not only is he saying you will achieve spiritual perfection, but he is also saying you will get material benefits as well. So one thing to highlight here, therefore, is we shouldn't really be scared. In that, there is this verse in Canto 10 of the Bhagavatam, and it says that whoever I especially favor, I take away everything from him. I take away their wealth, I take away their family members, and then this wretched fool ultimately surrenders to me. So Krishna is saying like that. So we shouldn't really be scared that by giving it our 100% in Purushottam month, that Krishna will take away everything. No, he is saying he will give us material benefits as well. And the other thing we shouldn't be scared of is that we will all do Purushottama month so nicely that at the end of it we will all go back to Godhead. We will die immediately and go back to Godhead. We shouldn't really be scared of that either. Because Krishna says here that at the end of his life, so that life might be short or long. So it's not that the more bhakti we do, the quicker we go back. Krishna has his plans, and he might want to keep somebody around in the material world for different reasons. So it's like having money in your bank account. You keep it there and you use it when you need it. This is just accumulating spiritual merit. Okay, so there are some practical considerations, and one of them is basically thinking, where am I at now? Remember I said this month starts on the 18th of July, so it's 10 days away. So where am I now? What is my day looking like now? And then where do I want to be? How do I want my day to look like in the month of Purushottam? So then from A to B, what do I do? How do I readjust my day? What modifications do I need to make to actually achieve what I want to achieve? So it's a practical thing. So remember, love is a verb. Love is a doing word. So by doing this, we are we are basically doing what Krishna wants us to do. So we need to set our vows, set our intentions ahead of time. And I'll now talk about what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. Okay, so these are the things that we should be doing. So this is the main one. The first one and the main one is that we should be worshipping Radha and Krishna with love and devotion. And before that, so remember what I'd said, that if we actually follow this month, we get not only spiritual success but material success as well. Well, it said that somebody who doesn't follow this month or disregards it, they don't achieve any happiness, not even in their dreams. So this is how it is described. Okay, so what to do in this month is worship Radha Krishna with love and devotion. That's the main one. And then similar things to what we do during Kartik month. So what do we do during Kartik month? I'll ask you, what do we do? What are some things you do? Offering lamps. What else? Extra rounds. Anyone else? All these things. Krishna Katha. Yes, so all these things we do during Kartik month, and much more we do. So similar as Kartik month, we can do all of that. The main things are following the 4 regulative principles, which we all know what they are, right? Following the 4 regulative principles, increasing our japa either in quality or quantity. So if we are already doing 16 rounds a day and it's good rounds, increasing the number if we can, or just making your existing quality, your rounds more quality. Then we also can do special prayers like all the astakams, like the Jagannath Astakam, Krishna Kripa Kataksham, Radha Kripa Kataksham, all these different astakams. There's so many astakams. We can be doing that. We can be doing lamp offering. We should take a bath in Brahma Muhurat, that is before the sun rises, 1.5 hours before the sun rises, and apply tilak. Like many times we just take a bath, we start chanting, and we don't really apply tilak, but applying tilak, that also makes us more Krishna conscious. Then doing more elaborate deity worship. This is another thing we could be doing. So more elaborate doesn't necessarily mean like, it really depends on what is already doing, and then just increasing it a little bit. Maybe instead of offering 1 tulsi leaf, offering 2 tulsi leaves, for example. And worshipping Tulsi Devi. By how do we worship Tulsi Devi? We circumambulate her, we put water on her, and we associate with her by sitting next to her and chanting. That really helps our chanting. By serving cows, by making your home like a temple, by having only prasadam, not having any other foods, by doing kirtan, more kirtan if possible, and by practicing celibacy. So Sutta Goswami has said, he's a great sage, and he has spoken the Bhagavatam. So what he's saying is, one should follow this vrata to avoid misfortune. So again, taking us back to the story of the stories associated with Kartik Mas. And again, Janakraj Prabhu has described this story really nicely. So remember Draupadi and the 5 Pandavas, friends of Krishna, relatives of Krishna, but they suffered materially. So, and the reason was that they had neglected Purushottama month previously. So, some of the bhajans that we can sing, like Kartik, we sing the Damodar Astakam. So some of the bhajans we can sing in this month is the Yugala Astakam by Srila Jiva Goswami, and the Chora Astakam by Bilva Mangar Thakur, as well as other astakams like Jai Radha Madhava, for not astakams but bhajans like Jai Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan, the Madhura Astakam, and so many other bhajans that are like Radha Krishna Pranamora, for example, that are relating to Radha and Krishna. So Other things that we can do this month, while I'm on it, is that so rising early in Brahma Muhurat, taking a bath, putting on tilak, like I said, and what this means is going to bed early. So some of us find this challenging, going to bed early, to remain truthful during this month, and hear Harikatha, read the Bhagavatam. Especially it is said, read Vraja Leela and read about Kurukshetra and how Krishna was taken back to in the Rath Yatra, what happened over there. Daily speaking Harikatha for those of us who are able to, and also worshipping Tulsi and offering as much Tulsi as possible. There is a special benediction that if you offer like 100,000 Tulsi leaves, you get so much merit that even Lord Brahma can't describe it. So all these wonderful, wonderful phal, all these wonderful fruits are there for us. Yes, and offering ghee lamb daily. And some practical things to say, so most of us will not be going to India or the Holy Dhams, we will probably be in Australia. So what we can do is circumambulate our deities, and that is the same as circumambulating like Govardhan Hill. So if you have a Govardhan Shila, for example, or you have your deities, you can circumambulate. It was Sanatan Goswami's disappearance day recently, and when Sanatan Goswami got old, then Krishna said to him, don't go all around Govardhan, just circumambulate this Shila. So it's the same benefit that you will get. And the other thing is, again, taking a dip. So what he said, take a dip in the holy rivers at that time in Brahma Muhurat. Well, what we can do is put drops of water on our head, like 3 drops of water on our head, and that is considered equivalent to having taken a bath in the all the holy rivers. Okay. So, what not to do in this month? What should we not do in this month? In this month, we shouldn't... Okay, so this is what Krishna is saying. So Krishna is saying, people who don't chant, people who don't give charity, people who don't do devotional service, people who don't take baths in holy rivers, people who are inimical towards devotees or holy places, and people who live off the wealth of others, they will not get happiness. They will not achieve success of this month. So what not to do in this month are things like avoiding the 10 offenses to the holy name. We know those 10 offenses to the holy name, don't we? So the 10 offenses to the holy name, firstly, and also avoiding offenses in deity worship. So I will quickly say, because we are all at different places here, so I will quickly say what these offenses are. So the 10 offenses against the holy name, these are the offenses that we need to avoid this month. These are the things we shouldn't be doing, like preventing ourselves from doing this. So one is offenses in deity worship, and that's like, being clean when you go and worship the deity. There's so many offenses there, like not going when the altar is dark, like all these different. There are a lot of different offenses in deity worship, but these offenses here are the ones to avoid. So the first one is to blaspheme or criticize devotees who have dedicated their lives for spreading the holy name. Then to consider demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be independent of Lord Vishnu. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. To blaspheme the Vedic literatures. To consider Hare Krishna to be an imagination. The glories of the Maha Mantra to be an imagination. To give some mundane interpretation to it. To commit sinful activities while chanting, thinking I'm chanting, the sin will get cut off. To consider chanting Hare Krishna as a ritual, and to instruct faithless person about how wonderful the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is, to not have complete faith in chanting the holy name, and to maintain material attachments, also being inattentive while chanting. So we need to avoid all these 10 offenses. If you didn't quite get that, you can easily go Google 10 offenses against the holy name, or you can pick up one of the scriptures and that will have it in it. So avoiding all of these offenses, and also avoiding offenses in deity worship. Okay, so sometimes, like Kartik comes around more frequently once a year, and we sometimes dread it. I know I do, because and most of us here actually hold a job. We also work, right? We work. We are maybe not staying at home full time. So I dread it because I think, oh, I'm not quite ready. How do I make the most use of it? How can I adjust I still have to go to work. How do I adjust this? So being prepared ahead of time, and also like really planning, like I described earlier. This is what my day is like now. How do I want my day to be like during the month, and what do I need to do? So I need to go to bed early. I need to make sure I wake up at this time, all of these things. So if we are prepared, we welcome it and we make the most out of it. So like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, again quoting Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he said, "Forget the past that sleeps, and never the future dream at all, but act in times that are with thee, and progress thee shall call." Meaning to say, you use your time right now and you will make progress, basically. So even devotees, even devotees, when they hear that this month has so much mercy, 1,000 times more mercy than Kartik, and also that you can go back to Godhead if you just do this month, like even we can get bewildered practicing devotees. So this is the mercy of Krishna, which is hard to understand, but this is how merciful he is. And it's said that we often don't realize the value of someone until they are gone. So before this month comes and goes, we actually need to make use of it, and we can do this by being prepared. And Krishna says, "Time I am," in the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 7. So this whole month is time. And it's another representation of Krishna. Krishna has put all his qualities in this month. And so to have the right mood towards it, to welcome it, and to deal with it sensitively, because the presiding deity for this month is Krishna himself. Not Lord Vishnu, but Krishna himself, Purushottama. So because it hasn't been so well known, like I remember last time Kartik month came around, it was during COVID times, wasn't it? So I had an experience then that I was talking about it to somebody, and that person kind of said, "Oh, it's just a ritualistic Indian sort of thing." And I thought, well, not really. It's not. It's Krishna, and Krishna's come in Purushottama month, and all the scriptures are talking about it. It's not at all ritualistic. It's a supersonic boom way to go back to Godhead. So, and at the end of this month, the mentality that we should be having is, thank you for the blissful moments. Thank you for blessing us with your association. We will miss you. And no matter where we are, the next time Purushottama month comes around, we will wait. And we will try to do our best to do Purushottama month again. Okay, so how to break this month? So you've done the whole month of austerity in all the things that I've kind of mentioned now. So how to break this month is to do your puja in the morning and offer obeisances and say, not necessarily the same words, but the similar mentality is, "O Supreme Lord, O Purushottama, O Lord Hari, I offer my obeisances unto you. May you and Srimati Radhika please accept my offerings, my repeated obeisances unto you." Then it is recommended to give charity to devotees, to Brahmins. So 3 or 5 or 7 or 9. And to give charity as best as you possibly can. Things that are recommended to be given are new clothes, money or gold, prasadam, new shoes, for example. These are the things. So when, how I've been saying we doing it for ourselves, so we go back to Godhead. Well, there is another very, very nice advantage, is that when we follow Purushottama and when we generally follow Bhakti Yoga, what happens is all the holy places, they come and reside in our body. All the holy places. So we can become purer and purer. And when one becomes a pure devotee, then that's the best preaching. In that when we go back to Godhead, we don't really want to go alone. The Hare Krishna movement is not just saving ourselves. Prabhupada's mood was saving the whole world. So we want to save as many souls as possible. And how we do that is by, like I said, the easiest way of doing it is by becoming a pure devotee. And I'll tell you why this is so intense, like why this works so well. So this is described in the Bhagavatam in Canto 1 actually. So in Canto 1, what it says is that in Canto 1, chapter 1 and verse 15. Okay, so what it is saying is, so 1:15. Okay, 1:15. So this verse is saying that, that basically what it's saying is that the Ganges, it purifies after repeated use, but the sages, like those devotees who are completely surrendered, they can at once sanctify. So immediately they can purify people who come in contact with them, whereas the Ganges can only sanctify after prolonged use. And then the purport says, pure devotees of the Lord are more powerful than the waters of the sacred river Ganges. One can at once get purified by the mercy of a pure devotee of the Lord. So this is why we kind of, feel sorry for people who are suffering. This world is full of ignorance, we know. So we feel sorry for people. We want to try to help them. The best way of trying to help them is to purify ourselves, try to become a pure devotee. And one way of doing that is to follow Purushottama month. And not just that, not to just give it away all after that, but to continue, obviously, on our path of Bhakti Yoga and continue to do all the spiritual processes that have been recommended. Okay, so to summarize, I will say that if you feel it necessary, talk to a superior, talk to somebody who is a mentor and ask them, I'm already doing this, what more should I do? Because remember, we kind of need to, the material and the spiritual goes hand in hand. We are in these material bodies. This material body has needs, and if we over endeavor or follow too much austerity, what happens is we might not have the time or the energy then to do the spiritual thing. For example, if we are trying to really avoid one particular type of food, and then we spend the whole day planning how to do that, how to avoid that, and preparing other kinds of food, then all that time could really have been used in doing service or chanting. So we need to be very practical about it. And also, like another example is, so I know a devotee who took a vow to only have rice once a day, and as a result of this, this devotee was not able to go and attend Mangalarti. And when his spiritual master found out, he said, no, you must stop doing this immediately. Just have normal prasadam and have enough energy to do all your usual plus more devotional services. So we need to be really practical about this. We need to take a moment, and taking a moment means just, taking some time like we are doing now to try to understand how am I going to prepare for it. A day before Purushottama month is probably the best time to do it, that tomorrow this is what I'll be doing starting from tomorrow, and just having everything ready for that. And doing the important things in life. So it's hard to get off the treadmill of our daily routine, but it can be done, and this is the time that we have 10 days ahead of time, so you have sufficient warning, all of us, myself included, to try to set our intentions, plan our daily structure, and the important thing also is that when we are going through this month and doing all these austerities, to have the mentality of pleasing Krishna and pleasing Radharani, and not to think, oh, by doing this, I'm getting purer and purer. Not to think like that, but to think, how am I pleasing the Lord? And finally, so I want to talk about Lord Jagannath just a tiny little bit, because Jagannath Puri is also known as Purushottama Kshetra. And so Lord Jagannath, he's like, we know all the forms of Krishna are complete, Purna, all the forms of Krishna. But Jagannath is called the most complete. Why so? Because it's basically he's feeling separation from Radharani, so much separation, but at the same time there is meeting there. In that Lord Chaitanya is there, and also that Lord Jagannath is going to Vrindavan, and there is meeting over there. Also because all the gopis, they had a complaint that when we blink, then we miss darshan of Krishna for a while. So when Lord Jagannath has come, he has come with no eyelids. So he has taken all those things on board, and he has come with no eyelids. He has come with his arms like this, so that the gopis can easily hug him. His eyes are always open. He doesn't close his eyes at all. In the whole 24 hours, he can see everything that is happening. And he doesn't miss any individual soul. And so Jagannath Puri is very, very special in this way. And so is Lord Jagannath and Baladev and Lady Subhadra in that form. So all the reasons, it's a whole class for another day. But the Jagannath Ashtakam is also something that we can be singing during this month. So I want to finish this topic now and quickly talk about Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami. But before I do that, I wanted to actually just very quickly sing just the first verse of the Chora Astakam. The Chora Astakam is by Sri Bilva Mangal Thakur, and it is calling Krishna a thief, the Chora Astakam. And why it is calling Krishna a thief is because Krishna has... so the first verse that I will sing, and this is something that we can sing during this month, this is what the translation of this verse is that I offer my respectful obeisances to that foremost of thieves, who is famous in Vraja as the butter thief, and he steals the gopis' clothes. Those who take shelter of him steals the sins which have accrued over many lifetimes, so that Krishna will steal away these sins. So this is what the Chora Astakam is. So I'll sing it and then you can sing after me. Okay. Vraje prashidam navanita choram gopagana nama chadikula choram. Vraje prashidam navanita choram gopagana nam chadikula choram. Aneka janma jita papa choram chora gaganyam purusham namami. Aneka janma jita papa choram chora gaganyam purusham namami. Jai Shri Bilva Mangal Thakur ki Jai. So I'll just say 2 more sentences and then I'll be done. So I just really quickly want to say that today is the the disappearance day of Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, and since I'm talking, I just want to honor him. So Gopala Bhatta Goswami, he is one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. We can see him there on the altar. It is his disappearance day today. We are honoring that, and he is the Goswami who out of his love and devotion asked Krishna to come, and Krishna came as Radharaman, who is the most famous deity in Vrindavan, self-manifested Radharaman, very, very lovable and very cute. And so Radharaman, there's a little connection here actually. Radharaman, he appeared the day after Narsingha Chaturdashi. So because Gopala Bhatta Goswami was saying, Krishna, you can come out of a pillar, so surely you can do anything. So then his Shila, one of his 12 Shalikam Shilas, the Damodar Shila, came as Radharaman, manifested as Radharaman. And now remember, Purushottama month, it is not one of the 12 months of the year, because Lord Brahma's boon was, yes, Hiranyakashipu, you won't be killed in the 12 months of the year. So Purushottama month came, and then Hiranyakashipu was killed, Lord Nrsimhadev appeared, and so the day after Lord Nrsimhadev's appearance, Radharaman appeared, who is the deity of Gopala Bhatta Goswami. So Radharaman appeared 481 years ago, and I don't know, and an astrologer might know whether it was Purushottama month then, but the interesting thing is that he appeared the day after Lord Nrsimhadev's appearance, and Lord Nrsimhadev appeared in Purushottama month. So to know more about Gopala Bhatta Goswami and his wonderful services, please read about him, or please hear a class about him. It's really wonderful. I do wish I had a little bit more time to say, but that's okay. That's for another day. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you again for having me here. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.